2025 is here and truly is packed with so many great movies. I think 2024 was one of the best movie years in a long time, and I already made my best of horror, best of the year. Here we're talking about the movies to look forward to this January. Now I will make a video on all of the movies in 2025, but this is just the movies that are coming out in January. They may not be the movies I'm most excited for, but they're movies that are coming out, just so you know. So let's get into it right now. Hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. 2025 is here, and we're starting off with a Robbie Williams biopic where he is a CGI monkey. Indeed, if you're thinking this movie's not going to be great, that it's weird, that it's not really something you want to watch, trust me, go into this one. This one's kind of special. I went into this one at Fantastic Fest. It was a secret screening. I sat down and I was just like, is this Nosferatu? It was not Nosferatu. I did watch Nosferatu a couple months later. But A Better Man, Better Man, it's just Better Man, not A Better Man. But Better Man is a biopic about Robbie Williams, a really successful musician that I had a vague understanding of. I think he was way bigger in Europe. But in this movie, he is played by a CGI monkey. Absolutely works, 100%. One of the best musicals I've seen in a time. Now, the next movie coming out January 10th is going to be Den of Thieves Pantera. Let's be straight up with y'all right now. I have not watched Den of Thieves #1, but this is a sequel to that film and it's pretty popular. I think people are really excited for it. I will watch Den of Thieves 1 and I will report back to you once I do. Another film that is going to be coming out is Hard Truths, which I've heard some great things about. Not entirely sure about it just yet, but I definitely am interested in it just because I've heard some pretty great thoughts from some people who have watched it, so we will see. The Last Showgirl as well will be having an expanded release date in January 10th, I believe, which is a movie I watched at TIFF with Pamela Anderson, and I was really blown away by Pamela Anderson in this one. So I do suggest watching that one if you're really into a smaller scale film. It is kind of a bit slower, I would say, than maybe you might expect, but I think it really does crescendo into something beautiful by the end. We have Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare coming out on January 13th, which continues the fairy tales gone horror trend we've seen these last couple of years, which I think is interesting. Then we move on to January 14th when we have a movie going to streaming that I want to talk about a bit more, but I will wait until it releases on streaming, which is Red Rooms. I think this one's definitely one of those movies that went under the radar a lot for people, and I'm hopeful that people will be excited for this one once it comes out because it definitely deserves all the praise. January 17th rolls around and you get Wolfman, the new film from Lee Wano, who gave us The Invisible Man, which was great, the underappreciated Upgrade, and of course a writer for the Saw films. This one looks really good. Christopher Abbott in it with Julia Gardner. Just a very good Universal monster movie. Once again, it's what we're gonna get, I think. One of Them Days with SZA as well as with Keke Palmer will be released, and this one's about two friends trying to come up with some rent money. I don't know. It looks interesting. It looks like it could be fun. We shall see. Back in Action is the next film with Cameron Diaz and Jamie Foxx coming to Netflix. It's CIA agents, I believe, who are trying to keep their identities a secret or something like that. There's a lot of spy movies in January. That's something I've noticed while I'm reading through all of this. Then we have Presence, one of my most anticipated of the year, alongside with The Wolfman and another film I'll talk about in a bit. The latest Steven Soderbergh film in which you find a family moving into a new house. They're not alone. There is a spirit, there's a presence there. It's viewing them, and we are in the point of view of the presence. And it sort of is the spiritual cousin of In a Vine Nature. That's what I've been hearing about it. So if that movie pissed you off, this might piss you off. If that movie made you fall in love with that specific horror genre that it is, then this one's the one for you right here. We go to another film that I'm very excited for, and that is the film Grafted. This is going to be coming out on Shudder. It is a horror film in its body horror. I've seen the trailer for it. I do want to make a video on it because it looks very interesting, so stay tuned for that. But if you want a body horror film, then this one's definitely going to be it right here. Then we move on to the end of the month where we have Dogman, which is based on the very successful graphic novel of the same name. Very stacked cast. Interested to see how this one's going to do because it definitely has, I feel, one of that cult following, it seems. We'll see. But a dog and a police officer get into an accident and then they become one, it seems. Then we do have Companion, which is the the latest film from the producers of Barbarian, in which you have Sophie Thatcher and Jack White starring, as well as Harvey Guillén, which I will always watch. No clue what this is about. The teasers, the poster, and everything have me excited though. We move on to Love Me, the latest film with Kristen Stewart as well as Steven Yeun. I saw this at Sundance. Very curious about the reception that this one will have. You have a buoy and a satellite that fall in love after like humanity ceases to exist, and it takes some interesting turns. It has some very high concept ideas that I loved and some that I was just like, well, but I'll talk more about it once it releases. We have Screamboat, which is the latest in the, as I said, fairy tale or classics turned horror. I'm interested in this one because you do have David Howard Thornton here starring as Mickey Mouse or Screamboat Willie, and it could be interesting, but we shall see. We shall see. A very interesting January. Not that horrible in my opinion. Usually January is where you think movies just go to be thrown away, but it sounds like we could be getting some interesting stuff. On another note, you do have the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man series coming to Disney Plus, which I'm interested in. I know it's getting a bit crapped about because of the way that it looks, but I kind of am like leaning towards that look being kind of interesting. We shall see. You also have Mel Gibson's Flight Risk with Mark Wahlberg in it, which can be an interesting one, I think, because Mel Gibson hasn't had a film out since the film with Andrew Garfield, which was Hacksaw Ridge, which went on to be nominated for a ton of awards when it came out. Some movies coming to streaming like A Different Man, as well as Sonic the Hedgehog coming to VOD. And you also have the new Goosebumps series coming to Disney Plus as well, which could be interesting. So kind of a pretty heavy January indeed. Maybe Januaries are coming around. Maybe they're getting a bit better, but we shall see. Anyways, let me know your thoughts and opinions. Which movie you're most excited for? Which one you're going to see in theaters? Which one are you going to be streaming? Or are you just skipping January in general? Comment below. But thank you again for everybody who's subscribed to the channel, who continues to support us. Really means a lot. A like and a sub really goes a long way. And stay tuned for some new updates coming to the channel pretty soon. As always, stay safe, stay positive.
It's gonna sound cheesy, but the moment we locked eyes,